Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Conscious Shift Network. Today we are venturing into possibility with Cheryl Mitchell. Cheryl Mitchell is a hypnotherapist and a teacher of hypnotherapy. In addition to that, she has a degree in metaphysics and is a writer of Quantum Possibilities, a monthly column that you will find in our very own Conscious Shift magazine. In addition to being an accomplished teacher and writer, Cheryl is a member of the local roller derby and is affectionately known as Kitten Has Claws. Thank you for joining us today and venturing into possibility, Cheryl.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
So, what does it mean to have a degree in metaphysics?
Well, I guess that depends on who you ask, doesn't it?
Well, I was just curious, and we can move on. We can.
Yeah. Well, I was interested in metaphysics, didn't realize it was metaphysics until I found the word metaphysics, and actually didn't realize there was such a thing that existed until I got older. So I actually got my degree when I was in my early 40s. I think I graduated when I was 45.
Wow.
Which actually the metaphysics, led me to what I'm doing today. But metaphysics is the root cause.
It's the what?
The root cause, the beginning.
The root cause.
Right.
You talk about that on your website.
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry.
exactly.
Continue.
So that kind of gives you the foundation of what it is I do. I'm always looking for where did it start, where did it begin. And when I was a child, I was always curious about why does one person feel one way, like even with my own family, in the same house, same parents, same upbringing, same experiences, and having such vastly different perspectives on things.
Sure.
So I had an innate curiosity about where did all this start.
That's interesting, the root cause. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's probably what led you to hypnotherapy, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Absolutely.
Kind of in a roundabout kind of way. Didn't realize that's what I was looking for. Found the metaphysics, thought that was, the answer. Of course, now I realize that there's never ever an answer. You're always, what's the next answer?
Because so hypnotherapy helps you get to the root cause.
Absolutely.
Okay. Just want to make sure I did hear you say that.
The hypnotherapy, because as a hypnotherapist, I help people find where did that begin.
Right.
Like if you have behavior that's not working for you, you obviously can't change it if you don't know where it came from. And the cause of it is in the subconscious mind, so I work within the subconscious mind and help you find the root cause so that it can be transformed.
That makes a lot of sense. So you write a column for my magazine, Conscious Shift magazine, called Quantum Possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I understand the metaphysics, and I understand it's about getting to the root cause, mm-hmm. and that's what hypnotherapy is about, your column you've always done a great job. I've always loved it. But it always has made sense to me because that's just how I live. But now I understand why you do it so well. Is that funny? Yeah. I've known her for quite a while, and we're just now discovering this.
I've known all along. But
So let's talk a little bit about quantum physics. I have personally approached quantum physics as Quantum Possibility,
sure.
Your column,
mm-hmm.
spirituality, physics being the scientist's need to quantify and clarify spirituality. My approach to quantum is spiritual. What do you think about that? Tell us a little bit about your take on that.
Well, it makes sense that the physical or the spiritual is connected to that, like they talk about the search for God, right? Go to quantum, looking for the God particle. And it's funny how going to the quantum realm to look for the answer, right? The answer, the root cause, just opens up all more. I mean, talk about the rabbit hole. Because there's nothing specific in the quantum. It's all possibility. Even when you get it all the way down, we thought the atom was the smallest thing. Then they find out there's photons and neutrons. And then you go beyond that and you get into quarks, and then there's even more within the quarks, and then the quarks can change and they become Z quarks and W quarks. And so the more we go, the more there is to discover. And every time they find another layer, they think, oh, this is the one. And there's something even below that, which is interesting to me because that correlates again to the work I do, because I'm always going under it. We found this, now what's under it, what's under it, what's under it, always looking for the next layer below it.
Right.
So that correlates to the quantum idea. So with quantum, we find that, quantum in itself is the smallest particle. So that's where I connect to the quantum possibilities. What's the smallest thing that you can change to create a lasting
So it's possible
difference
at the smallest level,
Right.
breaking it down. That kind of makes it easy for you to assimilate and incorporate change into your life too. Because if you're looking at it from the smallest, okay, this is the smallest point that I understand right now. I just need to adjust this, and then everything else will kind of follow suit,
And
right?
if you get in the habit of that, the new change, and then it becomes easy, right? So we don't do everything all at once. We do it, how do you eat an elephant, right?
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time, right? You can't eat the whole elephant.
Perfect, yes.
So that's my idea is, especially in this world, in our culture, we're so busy. Everybody's got everything going on, and who has time to, do something for an hour a day or whatever? But if it's a thought, you're constantly having thoughts. So why not take a few moments to be aware of your thought and then change the thought? And then when you do that often enough, that becomes your new pattern of thinking. Your thinking drives your behavior, then your behavior changes.
So, if we were going to give our readers one tip that they would take from this interview, it would be change your thought?
Yes,
Or would you
to be aware of your thoughts so that you have a hope of changing them. Until you become aware, so one of the most important elements in all of this is awareness. You have to be aware.
Awareness.
You have to be aware. And then you have at least a fighting chance to make a difference of it.
So, okay, so if we dial it down to the thought, if you're aware of your thoughts and you're conscious about what you're thinking, you can shift your life.
Exactly.
And you're doing it from a quantum perspective. We just don't realize that that's really quantum. So let's talk about the split theory. Two things are happening at once, right?
Right.
How would you apply the split theory? Well, because
so
between
back
every
to back.
thought, there's two thoughts.
Right. Right. Exactly. You
Okay.
can look at that in a lot of different ways too. Wanted and unwanted, beneficial, unbeneficial.
Oh,
right?
there we go.
So everything, because we live in a world of duality, right? Everything has a polar opposite, which takes us again back to the quantum, right? Because the protons that are the particles that are connected, they're connected. They affect each other, but they live in a superposition until they're observed. Back to the split theory, right? Until it's observed, that particle could be clockwise or counterclockwise in rotation.
So
But
we dial
until
it back
it's
down.
observed, you don't know what it is. Once you measure the one and you find it to be spinning clockwise, then the particle, no matter what the distance, is spinning in the opposite direction because they're entangled. Same thing
Going in
with,
two directions at once.
right, until they're observed.
Until they're
So
observed.
everything exists in possibility. Every possibility exists until it's observed.
Okay, so in taking charge of our thoughts,
Observing them.
the thought that's running rampant runs rampant until it's observed.
Right.
And then once it's observed, how do you choose to change it, right?
Right. Well,
Do you
and-
choose to continue the rampant, let it, I mean, am I getting
Sure.
this?
So you see, once you're aware of it, now you're in that point of change. Right? Now you have that opportunity. Now I know I feel this way, or now I realize I have that thought in there. Do I want to continue with it? Keep spinning it clockwise, or do I want to change it and spin it counterclockwise?
Wow.
So that moment of observation,
Okay.
just like in the double slit theory, is the moment of change, or
So,
opportunity of change.
then we can even take it a bit further, because what if it's all about choice?
But it is all about choice, isn't it?
Well, right, but how many of us have forgotten that?
Because we're not observing where we are. We're not observing what we want. We're told you need to do this, be like this, do this, act like this, dress this way, wear this kind of makeup, whatever it is. Where's our free will in all of that, right? We give away our free will because the ego wants us to be accepted. So I have to do what everybody else wants me to do in order to be loved, accepted, whatever that is. And again, in broad terms, that's
Goes back to quantum, because until you notice this, it just goes.
until you observe
Wow.
it. you
Wow,
bring that
what a
awareness
rabbit
to
hole.
it. Yeah, and it gets deeper and deeper and deeper.
And deeper.
And then bring your spirituality into that, right? Like you're looking for answers, and I have found that the more answers I look for, I just get more questions.
The more
rabbit
questions.
hole just is deeper and deeper and deeper.
The more you learn, the less you know.
Yes.
Wow.
The more I learn, the less
Wow.
I know.
All right then. So, okay, so.
It's kind of exciting.
Actually,
if you
it is
don't
real. I'm
mind-
like,
If you don't mind living in a state of constant unknown, it's kind of exciting.
well, you know, it's true.
It is.
The scariest part about it, I think, is that we get to choose.
Well, there's your duality again. The scariest part and the most empowering part, all at the same time, is that we get to choose.
I'm not going to get a resolve on this one. We're
There's
going to
none.
keep going and keep going.
That's the quantum possibilities.
I keep trying to say, well, what would be a way we could dial it down for our listeners? Sorry, listeners,
Yeah.
there's no way to just
Deeper
dial
and
it
deeper
down.
and
It's
deeper
all
and
about
deeper.
choice. It's
Yeah.
all about the different versions. What's really beautiful about that, though, is there's no right or wrong. There's just what works for you,
There's
right?
what works for you, and that's something that I would really like people to embrace. That is to find a way to be okay with just being who you are and what it is that works for you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't need to be cut in stone. We live in a society where when we find the answer, we think we have to live with that answer for the rest of our lives. But maybe that's just the best answer for you today, and tomorrow, whatever your circumstances are, it may change. So give yourself that freedom to allow yourself to just do what's best in any given moment, and then you're not trapped by right and wrong.
So, Quantum Possibility with Cheryl Mitchell. What if anything were possible?
Mhm.
And what if you had the answer?
Yes.
Wow. Venture down the rabbit hole of possibility today,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up for today. I thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out at consciousShiftMagazine.com and see what new ideas are taking root. And Cheryl Mitchell, hypnotherapist, kitten with claws, quantum physics extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and I am Tracey Kern, publisher of Conscious Shift Magazine, the online magazine where new ideas are taking root for a changing world. Join us at ConsciousShiftMagazine.com and venture down the rabbit hole of possibility with us.